There's a lot more stuff that we can and will do in the future. But man, it definitely has put us in a great spot. And I think rolling into the Crucible ranked stuff, like I was mentioning, and also having Warmind drop together with the remaining changes, I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to put Destiny in a really good spot.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of PlayStation Underground. We are here at Bungie, looking at Destiny 2 Warmind, the Insight Terminus strike. I'm here with Evan, the design director of Warmind. Evan, wave to the camera for us, would you? Thank you. And we are here with, technically at Bow. Yeah. Thank you, Josh, our sandbox lead for Destiny 2.
Hi, everybody.
So regal.
Yeah.
So regal. Yeah. So we are here on Nessus. This is one of the new strikes. This is the Sony exclusive strike for the Warmind DLC. One of 3 total strikes in the DLC. Is that right?
Yep,
Adam?
that's correct. Yep, 3 strikes total.
So as people have definitely already noticed, we're rolling with some special weapons here. You all were generous enough to treat me to my very favorite weapon from D1. The Suros regime is back. It has all the perks that you missed, and I am very thankful to you guys. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I
personally
hope you enjoy it.
From everyone here at Team Suros. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are rolling with.
Yeah, so I got the Polaris Lance, which is Anna Bray's scout rifle from Polaris. It has a really cool perk. If I get 4 precision shots, my 5th shot is a delayed explosive solar round. And I'm also rolling a D2 Classic Sins of the Past rocket launcher.
Okay, and sorry, Anna Bray was that?
Anna Bray. Anna Bray is one of our new NPCs we're introducing in the Warmind expansion. So we've mentioned her before in some Grimoire and other extended fiction, but we're actually going to make her a fully realized character.
Okay, cool. And Josh, what do you got there?
I am running a D2 Classic loadout. I have a Better Devils and a Positive Outlook, as I do. And then I also have a new and improved Borealis exotic sniper rifle, because everybody loves a sniper.
Now, new and improved.
New and improved.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we've it's gotten some upgrades. It now has a perk that says if I match damage types, that I do more damage for every other shot in the magazine. Additionally, it's now able to be masterworked, so you can get it to drop orbs. And finally, like all snipers, it got the new and improved sniper scope updates that makes it a lot more reliable in general, and just they feel so good. They're so crispy.
Now, is the sniper scope updates, was that part of the Go Fast?
No, actually. Okay. That is coming with Season 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should say, congratulations. Did everyone else finish their strike challenge, or was that just me? I did it? Okay.
Oh,
I'm actually going to have to warp out here, guys, and go turn in these tokens. So Warmind's coming May 8th. It's got a few new strikes, new destination, a bunch of other stuff that we're going to talk about as we kind of go through this strike. But Season 3 is also hitting that day, right? So there's going to be some updates kind of throughout the game and the sandbox too, I guess, right?
That's right. We're doing a big sweeping pass on exotic weapons, adding their masterworks and tuning up several of them to make them significantly more potent, I will say.
Okay. And will those work kind of the same way that the Masterwork system worked for the Legendaries?
So the difference in the Exotic Masterworks versus Legendary Masterworks is the the Exotic Masterwork perk is hand-built for the exotic that it's attached to.
Okay.
And so you don't re-roll those, but you do get the orb generation perk included, and then a bonus that, like I said, is hand-built for the specific exotic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And is this part of kind of along the same lines of thinking, oops, is that first death?
That's
first
number
death?
1.
That is number 1.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm the outsider here. I don't work for Bungie, so
it's okay.
I feel that's okay. So is that part of kind of an overall philosophy that you guys have with exotics, just about kind of really trying to make them seem much more special than most of the legendaries in the game?
Yeah, we want to. We're in a good place right now. I would say that we have space to allow exotics to breathe, even more than we have been able to do in the past. And so we're looking at just ramping them up, taking them to 11 and letting them truly be exotic. And so I think that's what people are going to see in the Season 3 pass is we just sort of looked at everything and if this weapon is kind of something cool that does this thing, then we make it do that thing that much harder, right? Like we just push it.
Are there any other updates that maybe kind of some of your favorite exotics that you want to talk about?
New. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything,
all right,
but
fair.
I will say new Fighting Lion is real good.
Really?
Real good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was a weapon that I always really wanted to love.
Well, you're gonna love it.
Okay. All right.
It's real good.
Graviton Lance, Sunshot, got some pretty good updates too.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of our coworkers was very excited about the updates to Graviton Lance, which we were talking about earlier. There's also some other stuff coming in Season 3. I think there's some Crucible updates, right? You guys are introducing a rank system?
That's true. Crucible ranks drop. The PvP team is incredibly excited to see what people do, and I think it's coming at a great time. Like when we roll in the exotic changes, the sandbox will have seen a pretty massive facelift over the last couple of months, and I think it's a great time to watch that come together.
So you're referring, and I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but we're talking now a couple weeks after the Go Fast update.
That's right.
Which was the biggest update to the Destiny 2 sandbox to date, right?
Correct.
And so what were kind of your goals with that, and then what have you seen as far as the community's response?
We wanted to make people feel more powerful, right? More in control, more capable and competent at what they do in the game, And so we did a bunch of weapons work to bring a lot of weapons back up to the forefront, to allow people basically to run the loadouts that they wanted to run, right? To try and keep them from feeling like they were being pigeonholed into something they weren't that interested in. And then additionally, we cranked mobility, hence the name Go Fast update.
Yep.
We changed some movement modes for Titans and Warlocks to give them more control and more speed. We touched several supers, just in general did a massive update. And it wasn't, it's a step in the direction that we want to go. It was a pretty big step and one we feel really good about, but it is just a step. Generally, I think the community has been very positive about it. They've kind of echoed the sentiment that I just put out, right? We definitely changed stuff. It definitely feels better. There's a lot more stuff that we can and will do in the future, but man, it definitely has put us in a great spot, and I think rolling into the Crucible rank stuff, like I was mentioning, and also having Warmind drop together with the remaining changes, I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to put Destiny in a really good spot.
That's great. So what is kind of the work that goes into implementing a change like that maybe isn't necessarily introducing a ton of content, but is touching so many different elements of the game, right?
Yeah, it's a shocking amount of work. Honestly, it is. So first we kind of figure out what we want to do, what our goals are, and then we have to actually go through and change the content. And then we iterate on those things, right? So we usually don't just make a change and it all works, or a series of changes and it all works. We make several changes and then feel where we are, see how it's hitting our goals, and then we push it that much harder and kind of keep that process up. While we're doing all that, we're also play testing because we have to see how the changes we made are affecting the game as a whole, and that means both PvE and PvP content, because everything we touch changes effectively everything in the game, right? Like every activity you can play gets altered in some meaningful way when we touch the sandbox. And so, and then the last, and I'm going to say the last step, but it's a massive step. Our test team, who are incredible, also go through and they look at it, they help us look at it from a balancing perspective, but they also have the large job of looking at it from did we actually break anything for real, right? And so they have to also go through all the activities and make sure it all comes together. Everybody's dying. What is happening?
The Gladiator is relentless.
I'm gonna blame Evan for not telling me I needed to deposit the arc charges in order,
Oh, sorry, man. I apologize.
or maybe I just did it wrong.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I think for maybe some people, they might look at certain games that are, that are putting out, an update that, rolls out every, 48 hours or 24 hours or
Right.
something like that. But Destiny is a huge game with a lot of
large.
moving pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not an easy endeavor, but I think that's probably true for any team out there, and teams that are doing this work. Like every dev in the industry, knows this feeling and knows is working real hard to make sure they're delivering something incredible for their fans. And we are no different in that regard. We are absolutely just trying every day to make sure we're pushing the game forward and making it better and better. And then it's just a matter of doing that in a gigantic game that plays differently in every single activity and affects a bunch of very unique and different players, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, Evan, tell me a little bit about kind of the process that you all take when you're designing a new set of strikes.
So yeah, usually when it comes to the strike, the most memorable part of a strike is the boss. So it's usually where we start is what is the boss experience that we want to build? Where do we feel like we have something we can add to the experience? Where haven't we done something in a while, or what new mechanic we can add? So here for this strike, we in D2 we didn't have a Ultra Saiyan boss or anything like that, and then from there we said, okay, what's the wrinkle we can add to that combatant, and what kind of fight do we want to go for? So usually it starts with the boss encounter, and then we go from there in determining the theme, or what kind of mechanics we want to introduce, and then we have another set of folks that work on just the general the space that the players progress through, some of the encounters that they're encountering along the way, and build it from there. But yeah, it all starts with the boss. That's how usually most players identify the strike, is by the final encounter, by that climactic boss encounter.
Right. I was reminiscing here, picking up a new phase of Destiny for the first time, remembering back to when Destiny 2 was first revealed, and the first time that I played it, it was on, what is the strike that has that drill that rotates?
Oh, yes.
The Inverted Spire.
That's what it was, right? Yeah, Inverted Spire.
Yep.
Playing that for the first time, seeing these new enemy types, and then just encountering this giant drill, and I think a 3-stage boss fight that went through a couple different locations.
Yeah.
That was really fun. So, all right, we made it through here, guys, right?
We did. We just gotta find these last.
No one died. No problem. Seems like that no respawn indicator should be disappearing.
No, man.
Who knows? Maybe ultra hard mode. Permadeath. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that is in Warmind, right? There's 3 total strikes.
Yep, 3 strikes. So we got 2 strikes in addition to this one, 2 that take place on Polaris. Part of the main theme of Warmind is it's kind of focused on Rasputin, so revealing a little bit of the mystery of who Rasputin is and what his role in Destiny is, and also probably bringing up some new questions. And we're bringing in or introducing a new NPC in game with Anna Bray. The Brays being the creators of Rasputin. So we've hinted at Anna Bray and the Bray family in past lore through Grimoire and other fiction, but we're finally making a fully realized character with her in the Warmind expansion.
Cool. And is there anything that you guys maybe kind of looked at as far as the response to Osiris that affected the development
for sure.
Episode 2?
Yeah, so after we came back from holiday break and seeing the reaction to Osiris, we know that we need to give players more things to pursue and more goals to achieve, and so we added a all new ritual public event on Polaris. It's akin to if you've played Destiny 1, similar to something in Quarter Orcs. So we came back, we looked at what we could do. We used Court of Orcs and Archon's Forge as examples of something we've done successfully in the past. We built a ritual public event kind of in that vein, but with a new kind of wrinkle to it. So we're looking forward to seeing how players react to the addition of this new Ritual public event on the destination that they can play week over week as they pursue new gear that we're adding to the expansion.
All right, so it seems like we've stumbled into perhaps some unfriendly territory here. This seems like a room that all of us will survive in very easily.
Round rooms are always ominous.
So we saw a little bit of footage and got some hands-on with the escalation protocol earlier, and it is extremely hard and really fun. Like you're saying, I think it's a really cool kind of spin on some of the kind of the wave-based activities of Court of Oryx. Was there anything that you all learned from Court of Oryx as far as kind of like, here's kind of the right way to do waves or to keep this interesting, or here's kind of how we stagger rewards?
So for Court of Oryx, we kept it very focused to one contained area on the Hive ship, and that worked. And we also had like the token system, so you had to grind to earn tokens to get the different difficulty in waves. And we decided to make the Hive escalation protocol. When I say accessible, I don't mean accessible as in it's easier, but like just easier to get into, but still make it hard. So it's easier to trigger, easier to happen, and it uses the whole of the public parts of the destination. So it's not just focused to one key pocket. So as you're roaming around the destination through the public areas, you'll be seeing Hive escalation protocol happening in multiple instances, and you can choose to engage and help out a fire team that's struggling to get through the waves, or you can just kind of sit by and participate in the patrols and just stay out of the way while they're taking on like these epic tier bosses as they're going for their new Seraph gear and weapons.
Yeah, so that was something like super cool, right? Like you can have up to 9 people potentially in one area trying to tackle this.
So it's really cool to be just kind of cruising along, and maybe you're on doing something else, doing an adventure or looking for a lost sector, and you see 2 fire teams engaged in the escalation protocol, and your fire team is off doing something else, and you can just decide to jump in, help out for a few waves, try to get to the end, and then if you get there, move on to something else, or if not, stick around, try it again. But it's totally free form, coming in and out, and we wanted to keep it that way, so you're not always waiting for somebody for the public event. Like there always will be high traffic going through the public spaces to help you out in the event.
That's super cool. Yeah. And it requires much more of an investment than just a public event, right?
Oh, yeah.
7 waves, I think,
7
right?
waves and escalating difficulty and bosses, and and very powerful. Like that, the hardest combatants in the game are in escalation protocol. So you have to be ready. You have to become prepared with the strategy, and be ready to grind for a bit as you progress through the waves.
Now, Josh, I know you're going to tell me there's some awesome stuff once I
There
go
is some awesome stuff. Yes, there are new weapons, super cool art-wise. Additionally, they have some of the newer perks we've made just to start shipping with these weapons. And so while we might roll them out to additional legendaries in the future, right now those weapons are the only way to get your hands on them. There's an incredibly good shotgun, an awesome sniper rifle. The sniper rifle, for example, has a new perk called box breathing that lets you, if you hold ADS for long enough, then you get an incredible damage boost to your precision damage. And so excellent for PvE snipers.
Right. Perhaps used on the escalation protocol themselves.
Perhaps, yes. There's a real moment in escalation protocol where you're like, wow, that's a lot of ogres. And then there's another moment where you're like, nope, I was wrong. This is a lot of ogres.
Yeah, totally. It really threw off my kind of calibration. What was it, Josh? I think, did you confirm that the canon term for a group of ogres is a murder of ogres?
It is a murder of ogres.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
so we can get that. That's in the Grimoire. Maybe not. It hasn't been revealed yet, but it's an exclusive reveal on PlayStation.
Exactly.
So, as we talked about, I'm rolling with the Suros regime, classic exotic from Destiny 1. How do you all look back at kind of the arsenal that you've built out and decide, hey, it's time to bring something back?
It depends. Like there are a lot of D1 weapons that people love, and so we want to honor those things and bring them back in interesting ways and when it's the right time. But we also don't want to just bombard people with reprise weapons either, and so it's it's hard to know exactly if we're always doing the right thing, and so
Right.
we want to make sure we're giving a great mix of new awesome stuff, but also, hey, here's this thing. Like, if you missed this, or you were a favorite of Suros, for example, then like, here, go get it, right? It's yours.
Right.
So it's just a matter of making sure we have enough stuff that is both new and reprised stuff people are going to be happy with. It seemed like a terrible tether, and then it worked.
It worked out.
So
Pro level tether.
And how do you all decide? I mean, obviously you have a very vocal, kind of active community. How do you all decide that something is like, hey, this is something that we need to try and kind of work on right now versus, maybe this is something that we should look at kind of in a larger update in the future?
yeah, that's a great, super difficult question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it's the most difficult part of the strike, so
That's
I
all right. This is
figured,
perfect timing. Perfect timing. So let me, just to be clear, you asked the question and then died, right? You just got it out there.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
is
okay,
someone
all right, just
someone
make sure.
manipulating AI back there?
So yeah, so I think Destiny is a giant game. It's huge. It's got a lot of very distinct players who play, whether it be PvE or PvP. But I think even within those areas, you have people that want different things out of those modes, right? Even there are PvP players who want one thing, and PvP players that want another. And so we are also players of the game. Like I'm on almost every night playing with my cousin and friends and people from work, and so we're also having these conversations about what we should do. And it's just a matter of listening, taking feedback, hearing what everybody has to say, what they're looking for, what they'd like to see from Destiny, and then thinking that through. Like what can we do that helps the game move forward in the right way, that makes Destiny a better game, and more importantly, makes it better for all of those different players, and just attacking that as best we can.
Cool. Well, it seems like things are in a great shape. There's already been a lot of kind of, I think, improvements that have been rolled out in the last couple months, and looks like a really bright future. So thanks for giving me a little peek of what's to come.
Yeah, thanks for playing.
Thanks for having us.
PlayStation